Alrighty, welcome back everyone. I am Blaze here. Today's video is talking about instancing. What is it? So there's two main forms that are present on time lock progression servers mostly, but also on live to some degree. And what they are is the Pic Zone feature for grouping content and the DZ feature or dynamic zone for raid content typically. So let's talk about what they are. So the Pic Zone feature, or spawning a new pick as it's called, what it is, it's a form of load balancing. So many zones for in-era content have a nasty habit of getting incredibly overcrowded, especially during classic era on Mangler. I remember how crazy it was in Crushbone and Unrest and the Hole and all those really popular grouping zones. So what do you do if you have 200 people in a zone that only has 4 camps available? What do you do? So on TLP servers, many of these zones have a certain player threshold. They have a certain number of players where if it hits that threshold, the zone will spawn another version of itself that's empty for people to move into. Typically, these player thresholds are anywhere from 15 up to 50. I think Karnor's Castle was somewhere like 25 to 30 players to spawn another version of it. I think the same thing with Unrest or Crushbone or whatever it might be. A lot of the bigger zones, like say Warslick's Woods, that took a lot of people to cause another version of the zone to spawn. But what this allows for is that so long as there's too many people in the main version of the zone, in the primary version of the zone, it'll keep spawning more and more different picks, more and more empty versions of it for people to move into so that the player numbers get balanced out. And it'll keep doing that until the main version of the zone goes under that player threshold number. So I remember back in era on Mangler, there was 15 to 20 different versions of Crushbone up simultaneously. And it was a godsend. You could pretty much get a group and find a camp in 5-10 minutes. It was not hard. I can't even imagine what it was like on P99 green or teal with ungodly amount of people in the same zone trying to fight for limited camps. I just couldn't imagine that. So that's what the Pic Zone feature is. It's still incredibly useful for current content and Planes of Power during daytime hours. There can be anywhere from 3 to 4 different picks of Plane of Fire, the most popular grouping zone in Planes of Power. It's a very nice feature. And how you use it, you just type in /pick in your chat box, and it'll open up a little window that'll show you all the different versions of the same zone and how many people are in them. And if you do select to move to a different version of the zone, it'll give you a 5-minute lockout timer before you can use the feature again. And it'll also send you to the evac point or the sucker point of a zone, typically the exit or entrance of a zone. Next, let's talk about DZs or dynamic zones. So to create a DZ, you have to talk to something called an AOC, or an Agent of Change. These are these special NPCs that take the form of what your server name is. So the Mangler one is in reference to a little dog that's in Rivervale. I think Finnegal had a avatar that looked like Finnegal Autotrops in Kedgekeep. Same thing with Agnar, the Stormlord. That's all it is. And when you go through dialogue with this NPC, it will allow you to spawn a private version of a zone that can hold up to 72 players, which is a full raid. And once you start killing content in that private zone, it'll typically start a lockout, especially if you kill a raid mob. It'll start a lockout, which varies from server to server. On Celos, once you kill the raid mob, say like Trachanon and Sebelis, it would give you a 3.5-day lockout before you could spawn another version of the same zone again. And for Mangler, it was a 7-day lockout. So you can only do raid content once a week. So this DZ feature for raiding has honestly been a tremendous godsend. It has allowed for the scheduling of raids. Many guilds on TLP servers, the way that they raid is they say that, okay, our scheduled raids are at 9 p.m. Pacific every Friday. And we will spawn private zones, we'll spawn DZs to go kill current era raid content. That's how many guilds operate on TLP servers. So all you have to do is just find a guild that has the hours that you like, that's best for you, and you can do scheduled raids. It's a lot easier for having a normal life as opposed to what raiding used to be on EverQuest, where You had to be able to pick up the bat phone and be able to compete with open world content at any point of the day, on any day of the week. 3 a.m. on a Tuesday to go kill Vox? Well, hope you can get enough guild members on to go kill it, otherwise you're gonna lose to another guild who can. And if you miss out, sorry, you gotta wait another 7 days. You know, that was brutal. Having to compete in open world raid content was just so brutal. So this is a very, very nice feature. And it also means that all raid content is doable. So long as your guild can get enough people, and enough people that are good enough at their class to kill a raid NPC, to kill a raid target, it's doable. Your guild can raid and do all content of an era. There's nothing holding them back. You do not have to compete with other guilds in open world and deal with the shenanigans of DPS races or getting trained and wiping and all that. You don't have to deal with it. And it's especially been super helpful for doing epics, because there are certain choke point raid targets where if everybody on the server, if 100 bards or 500 bards are trying to kill the same exact Trachanon once every 7 days, it gets really bad. Whereas if a guild can spawn a instance of Sebulus to kill Trachanon every single week, then that means that a lot more bards can get their epics done. It's helped out everybody, every class that has specific choke points for their epic. It's been very, very helpful for that. Honestly, I consider these two features to be the #1 quality of life improvement that time lock progression servers, that live servers have over Project 1999. They are the biggest time savers, and they let you do all content. The only thing holding you back is just your guild. That's really it. Or the players in your raid. That's really it. It's no longer that you can't compete at 3 a.m. on a weekday night. It's not that anymore. So hopefully this explains a lot about what the instancing feature is on time lock progression servers. I know many people will watch my channel from P99, so I want to explain that. Like I say, I'm gonna go check a different pick, and many times people don't know what that means. I just wanted to explain what that terminology meant and how big it is, on how incredible it is on live servers, how great of a feature it's been. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.